Hello there, Thando Book Club lovers. We are so happy to have you join us as we talk to African female authors about their books and the stories behind them. As is our custom, we always begin every episode with a quote from a famous African that we believe captures the spirit and message of the author we'll be interviewing. Today's quote is from Chinua Achebe. "Nobody can teach me who I am. You can describe parts of me, but who I am and what I need is something I have to find out myself." This quote sums up what our guest today champions in her work and in her book, They Told Me, Dreams Do Come True. Meet Memory MwanaAkana Masenyama, ni Makambwa. She is a young Christian lady based in Harare, Zimbabwe. She grew up in Mhangura and received all her education in Zimbabwe. She studied nursing science at the University of Zimbabwe and practices as a registered general nurse. She's an avid reader and has had a passion for writing since she was a child. They Told Me Dreams Do Come True is her first book. It is a compilation of short stories that not only depict the struggles of young people living in Zimbabwe, but gives hope that dreams can come true and that they do come true. She is married with 3 children. Memory, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here on the book club. Let's get straight into the interview. Why did you start writing?
Well, ever since I was a little child, I loved reading. I actually became a junior librarian in grade 3 so that I could be in the library anytime I want and would read stories. So, and then I also just loved hearing stories from people and I wanted to share them with other people. And as I'm not good at speaking with people, I thought, let me just express myself in writing. So I just started writing stories when I was younger, of just imagining things and just writing them down, escaping into my own little world. So yeah, that's why I started writing, because I wanted people to, to tell people stories. Like, I wanted my stories to be like I'm talking to you through my books.
Wow, definitely your books do offer a wonderful, refreshing slice of life. So describe for us what your writing process looks like. Like, what's an ordinary day in the life of you working through one of your stories or building up to a book?
Okay, so during the day I work and I move around with my little notebook because I get ideas as I go through my day. So when I get an idea, I write it down in my book. Let's say I'm working on a story. So whenever I think, oh, I could put that in, I jot it down. Oh, I could do it like this, I jot it down. And then when I get home, I deal with the kids, and when the house is now quiet, that's when I usually work. And then I'm trying to put all those ideas that I'd written down into the story.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds to me like a long day. I mean, you're at work all day.
Yes.
You get home, there's 3 little children
Yes.
wanting mom. You
Yes.
deal with them,
Yes.
and then you're like, okay, now it's time for me, right at the end of the list. And you're doing this amazing work, writing these amazing stories.
Yes,
Your
thank you.
book, They Told Me Dreams Do Come True, is a collection of modern Zimbabwean stories. It's fresh and it shifts the narrative from economic downturn to kind of slice of life scenes that make you think and also make you start thinking about Zimbabwe in a new way. Because all of those young people in the stories
Yes.
give a picture of potential and hope and
Yes.
promise.
Yes.
Was that what you intended when you put those stories together, or were you on a different journey and then you just kind of ended up there?
No, actually it was what I intentioned, but because you see, I've met a lot of people, like I said, I just hear people's stories and sometimes I want to ask, can you tell me more about your story? And that's the line I was hearing a lot. People are saying, because people were saying, I have no job, I have no what. But then you see someone is good at baking cakes, someone is good at doing hair, someone is good at doing makeup. I'm like, why are you not doing that? It's your passion, it's your dream. Why are you not doing it? So I just started writing those stories to show other people that, you're not alone. There are other people who are also like that, but they did something with the dream that they had. So you can also do something about your dream if you're looking for a job and you can't find it. So do what you are good at doing while you look for the job. make it your side hustle, as they say. Yeah, so that's why I wrote those stories like that.
Yeah, I think that that is so powerful because not everybody gets a chance to leave the country or
Yes.
gets that scholarship or even has, a family background where that can be afforded.
Yes, that's true.
And, but people are still living and they can live with joy
Yes.
and they can actually live their dreams right
Yes.
here in this place. So I love that that's the message that came from you through this book.
Yes, thank you.
My last question in this segment is, since the book was released, what has surprised you about the response to the book?
Okay, so firstly, as the way it related so much to people. So when people were reading the book, they were like, oh yes, I remember that. Oh yes, I used to do that. Oh yes, I used to see that. Just recently, someone is like, I went into town and I went to the Kotamai boutique, and I could just see your book in there because that's what they were doing. That's everything they were doing. And also people who are outside the country who've read the book, it brings memories to them that, I remember that. I remember that. It gives me a sense like I'm home when I read your book. And then that's the first thing. The second thing is that someone asked me, are you going to do an audio of your book? I hadn't really thought of that, but I guess I should think about it now. So yeah, that's.
Definitely, I do think an audiobook would be a great continuation of that franchise because there's a lot of great dialogue in your book in particular, and a lot of sounds and beats of the city
Yes.
and our culture
Yes.
that's actually in your writing. So I think that would be very interesting to see how that would pan out
Yes.
in an audio rendition. Do you have plans or thoughts towards a next project?
Yes, I do actually. I had actually started working on 3 projects because sometimes, I like to work like today. I feel like working on this book. The next day, I feel like working on this book. So yeah, I'm actually thinking of expanding into, I'm working on a children's story, 2 stories actually, which I'll combine to make 1 book. And because when you have children, it's I'm amazed all the time. I'm thinking, oh wow, this is what I learned from a child's perspective. So yeah, especially my son, he asks a lot of questions, and so that gave me the idea of let me write something that he could relate to and that he could read, so that he learns to love reading.
That's great. And I do think it's really important for children to love reading and to read for pleasure before they ever have to read for learning. Because it makes it so much easier when they have to read for learning, because they already are friends with the practice of reading and find value in it. I find it so sad that many children in our country only get access to reading for learning. And if you don't like a subject, then what do you do? Do you then hate reading? And where do we go from that? So I really love that you thought about that in terms of one of your next new projects. We're really looking forward to having you come up with that, and hopefully we'll be able to review it right here on the book club.
I hope so too.
Well, that's it for this first segment, but we'll be right back in just a few moments with Memory as we begin talking about some particular stories from her collection, They Told Me Dreams Do Come True. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're in the studio with Memory MwanaAkana Masenyama discussing her collection of short stories, They Told Me Dreams Do Come True. Memory.
Yes.
The book's first story starts out as a story that seems like it's going to be a doldrum, talking about youth unemployment. And it has an unexpected uplift towards the end. It's the titular story of your book, They Told Me Dreams Do Come True. Do you believe that youth unemployment in Zimbabwe is as one-dimensional as we've come to believe? And can dreams survive in a Zimbabwean context?
Okay, so no, I don't think it's one-dimensional. Okay, I say that because when I look at it now, now they do career guidances at school. I was at one a few months ago, and there they had lots of things that they showed the youth. It was at a high school. So there is a whole range that lots of possibilities that they were showing to the youth. They were telling them that you can't, it's not only about graduating and getting a job, but you can actually do a lot of different things. There are now projects that kids can do, like during the holidays. I was seeing like drone camps, I was seeing space camps, I was seeing robotics camps, you know, things like that. So it's things that as they're growing up now, you could just venture into and have lots of possibilities that you can look into. So no, I don't think it's one-dimensional. And now, yes, dreams can survive in Zimbabwe. Dreams are surviving in Zimbabwe. I've actually met quite a number of people who've made their dreams come true. Say someone actually quit their job and went into their cake business because they're passionate about baking. And now they started their own business, and it's working. You know, you have to put in the hours, though. You have to work hard and put in the hours for it to work. It's not easy. It's not like you just sit there and it's happening. No, you actually have to go out there and make it happen. So yes, dreams are surviving in Zimbabwe. That's what I'll say.
Sounds like they're thriving.
Yes.
And it also sounds like they're quite lucrative with some of the testimonials that you've heard.
Yes.
I think what strikes me in terms of your answer is also just the fact that we're seeing a diversity of dreams, and maybe the problem with our story before and our fixation on youth unemployment is we kept thinking about certain types of jobs and certain types of careers. And now the world is opening up in new and amazing different ways. And there are actually more options in terms of what you can do for a job. And these things that they call critical and rare skills. And many of them sometimes actually aren't behind a desk doing something formal and sedentary. So I find that very, very interesting. What I also appreciate, I think also, is that I think a lot of the African female authors that come on the show have very varied lives and are breaking the mold. So you would think that, you know, some of them went to school for writing, but we've got all sorts, working in medicine yourself, others working in accounting that we've interviewed, and others that started out in one area of the arts and crossed over to another. So I suppose maybe it's not about the environment, it's about our faith and our ability to push through with that faith and have some grit.
And can I also just say, like, it's about how you teach your children to grow up. Say my sister-in-law, what she does with the 4 girls is everyone has to learn a practical skill. So she asks them, what do you want to do? And then you help them along to do that. So one is she loves designing clothes, she's doing that. The other one loves painting, she's doing that. The other one loves baking, and she's doing that. So when they grow up and they're out there, and you're not just stuck saying, I don't have a job. Bake.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yes, bake if you don't have a job. Okay. Another story that I found quite interesting in your book is $1 a day. And I found it interesting for the same reason as they told me dreams do come true. Because $1 a day is a story that busts some myths about the lack of agency young people and young families have to do things like save and invest. And usually that lack of agency is connected to the economic hardships and how inflation is high and all of these things are so difficult. But in this conversation that is the story in this short story in the book, this young person who's in university has a conversation with a young family that's just welcomed their child. And the conversation is actually about saving, right? But it's so relatable because they're eating snacks we know and love that are local, that are in our shops. And they're talking about things that we talk about and think about all the time. And you're proffering a solution. And it's done in such a logical way that you're kind of like, yeah, but actually that makes so much sense. So what inspired this particular narrative?
Okay, so growing up, I actually thought saving was for the rich. But when I met my husband, he always talked to me about, you have to save. But I'm like, there's nothing to save because everything is going into something. And then he said, no, you can save something little by little. So I thought, okay, $1 a day can't be much. So I thought, let me challenge myself, because then I also wanted to teach my kids to save. So I thought, let me challenge myself and do it. And I did it for 6 months, saving $1 a day. And it actually worked out. So, and we've reinvested that money into something. So the concept of $1 a day is not just put $1 a day aside. It's like save little where you can, and it will amount up to much. I have a friend who said they actually bought their first printer for their first business from money they had saved. They were putting coins into a coin box, and that money is what bought his printer, his first printer. So I was like, yes, people, you can do it. You can put money aside, or you can do like it's mentioned in the book. I know someone who thought their son was overspending. So he asked, give me money, I buy cattle for you, and I can keep them at my farm for you. So you have cattle when you go and marry, or you can sell them and get some money. So that's how I came up with that concept, to write that $1 a day.
Well, very creative concept, dealing with financial literacy and something very basic we all need to learn. Those are powerful insights there from memory, as for all of us to ponder. It's time for a short break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back in a few moments, and we'll be talking publishing and advice for young writers with memory, and she'll do her reading, as is our custom on the book club. Stay tuned. You're watching the Thando Book Club, and we're interviewing Memory MwanaAkana Masenyama. You're just in time to get some good advice on writing, and we can't wait to jump back into this conversation. Memory,
yes.
What did you learn from the publishing process?
Okay, so I tried asking publishing companies to help me with my book, and then I was just being told this and that and that, and I gave up for a while. And then after I talked to my editor, which is you, I then figured I could self-publish, and then my friends and family could help me get the book around. So I took the route of self-publishing. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to somebody in the same position?
Talk to people who've already published, see how they did it, and which books are good for self-publishing, which books are good for going to a publishing company, and that will help. So use the resources that you have of people who have already published. And I know they say that publishing is expensive, so start where you can. Like I said, I then did self-publishing, and it wasn't as expensive as I thought. And I actually then did it that way. And now my husband helps me to get the book out. My friends help me to get the book out, because obviously initially all my family had to buy the book, and then my friends were actually requesting for the book, and people outside were also requesting for the book. And so you can, after you do that, you can actually then put it on Amazon, put it on Gumdrop, so everyone out there can get the book.
And did you find that there was lots of information available online, other published writers who came on board and helped you and supported you in the process?
I talked to a few people, yes, who've written their own books here in Zimbabwe. And yes, they gave me information on what to do, who to talk to, and that was very helpful.
Well, I am so glad that you pushed through and you followed the process and you found a different way to do it. And I think what I do find encouraging about your story, we've had you on the book club before, and I know your story personally, obviously, is that there were actually so many people who helped you along the way. And so I think that's also something to just ponder upon in terms of the title of your book, which is They Told Me Dreams Do Come True, because when you set out and you take a leap of faith, other people will come and help you along the way. And maybe it's not how you envisioned it at the beginning, but sometimes it's richer, and the relationships that you gain are better for you in the long run.
Yes, that's true.
Well, as is our custom, we like to have a reading from the author towards the end of our show. And we always ask the author to read something that they believe women need to hear right now. So what have you prepared for us today?
Okay, so I'm going to read the conclusion of They Told Me Dreams Do Come True, because I really wanted to get into people's heads that your dreams can come true. Do not bury your dreams. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Some people have started their dreams at 50. Start when you get the opportunity, start there. I know someone who's actually doing an MBA and they're 50. So they're pushing through and doing it. So that's the message I really want to get into the women, that, it's not just about getting married, having children, and you bury your dream. No, get married, have children, and live your dream.
Definitely. And I mean, you can have multiple dreams.
Yes.
You know, at the same time.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's so true.
Okay, so please take it away for us and give us your reading.
Okay. So I'm reading from page 20 of the book. They told me when I was younger that I could achieve whatever I set my mind to do. They still do. That I should dream big, and if I worked hard at it, it would come true. The sky wasn't even the limit. I could go beyond. You know what? I believed it then, but somewhere along the line I stopped dreaming and stopped believing. As things in the economy got tougher and life got more challenging, it seemed like dreaming was a luxury or even foolishness. What I'm finding now that I have started to dream again, is that life is precious and it requires courage. While I now believe that dreams can come true, I also understand that this does not mean the road is easy. I dare to dream. I fight for my dreams. I work for them. And along the way, I've found others who dare to dream. You'll read about them in this book. But before you do, I just want to say one last thing to those of you who may be knocking on the doors of places that have no room for you because you've been told it's safe. It's a safe and sure path for you. Stop trying to make something that doesn't work. Dare to dream, no matter how tough the environment may seem, and regardless of your age or expectations of where you should be in life. Always remember, it's never too late to dream.
That was a very important and insightful message in your book. Yes. And I love how you speak about no matter what you expected the safe path would be or how you thought life would turn out, you mustn't stop dreaming. But I also love the fact that you combined issues around courage, hard work, fighting for your dreams, and persistence as part of the charge to dream. Because I think often people think dreaming is very airy-fairy, you know, because we do it when we sleep. Yes. But when we're dreaming for our purpose, it's an altogether different kind of energy.
Yes, that's true. That's true, because, I'm in health, right? That I'm a nurse, right? And I love writing. So what did I do? Mostly what I do is scribing at work, and that's writing, because I love it so much, and it improves. By doing that, I'm improving. Because if you're going to be a writer, write every day. Keep writing every day until even when you don't feel like it, keep writing. Just write a short story. Give yourself about 15 minutes a day, and as long as you're writing every day. And also, I just want to say to young writers or just writers out there, when you're writing, do a good work. Don't just rush and publish your book. Work on it until you've needled out all the little mistakes, because there's nothing as annoying as reading a book full of mistakes. Yeah. And if you want it to be world standard, put in the work. Yeah. And it may, you may have to repeat and do it over and over. I had to do this when we were doing the editing. I think we did it over 20 times. Wow. I knew the book inside out. And so just keep doing until it becomes excellent. Have a standard of excellence.
Excellent, definitely. Yes. And it should be excellent, and we should definitely do things with quality. Yes. You must have been dreaming about the book in a different way, but at the end of that process. Yes. Well, it's been another great edition of the Book Club with our guest, MwanaAkana Masenyama. See you again next week, same time, with another fabulous African female author. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, and stay true. Goodbye.